All right. Okay, this is Capitulum Quartum par secunda and chapter 4, part 2. Let's start with our opening prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Why is this? Do you guys see this little label that keeps popping up randomly on my screen? Oh, it's not there now. Okay, that's weird. All right, well, it stopped, so I think maybe we're good. Oh, no, it's back. All right, let me do something here. Give me just a second. Give me just a sec. Let me do a new share here. Let's see here. Oh, that's interesting. It won't let me do that. There we go. All right. Hopefully it's gone away. There we go. All right. That is dedication, Sharon. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was Teresa. That's dedication, Teresa. All right. Topics for tonight. The Ave Maria. Novissimo tempore is last time we talked about sua sua suum, and I have some more examples, prepositions, and then questions from you guys. And then lastly, next Thursday is Ascension. And so we'll see whether we'll have class or not. But let's get started here. Okay, let's do this. There we go. All right, so I thought I'd point out that whether you realize it or not, you've got most of the words in the Ave Maria, or at least the forms thereof. So we had the imperative recently, Ave, hail, ora, pray. Now we haven't had Ave and ora in the text, but we have had the imperative. We've had a bunch of first declension words. Those are the words that end in A. Maria, Maria, hora. Then we've also had adjectives. Gratia, benedicta, benedictus, sancta, and nostre. So we've had a bunch of those. Conjunctions. Whoop, there we go. Conjunctions. Let's see. Et, we've had et and et. And then we've had pronouns. And let's see, where are the pronouns? Oh, okay. Te. We've had te. We haven't had tu. That's the nominative form. And then second declension nouns, we've had dominus, we've had Dei. So you've had a lot of the words in the Ave Maria. And I'm pointing this out because I think it sort of may have snuck up on you over time that, this stuff really is slowly hanging it together. Anyway, last time, there was a question on sua sum, and if it appeared only in nominative and accusative forms. I said no, it'll appear in all three forms that you've had so far. And I wrote, Julius sumit liber filii sui. Julius took the book of his son, or we would perhaps say his son's book in English. So there is a sui. Whoops, I skipped oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. So what I did is I put in, we've had the nominative, the genitive, the accusative, and the ablative. So I also stuck in the ablative. We only had it in one case, and that was when we said in Europa or in Egypto in the first chapter. But we have had that. So the endings there are, if it's masculine, it ends in an O, a long O. If it's feminine, it ends in a long I, like in Italia. And if it's masculine or neuter, it ends in an O. So I put those in there as well. Now, the other thing is all of these follow the exact same rules as first and second declension nouns, because they're first and second declension adjectives, really. So they have the same endings as the ones that we have seen. So if you run off and look through the Vulgate, there are several examples. Here's one: quis putas est fidelis servus et prudens quem constituit dominus suis super familiam suam ut det illis cibum in tempore. So who do you think is a faithful and wise servant, prudens, whom his Lord, dominus suis, hath appointed over his family, super familiam suam? So there we have nominative and accusative forms. You look around a little more and you find that we have in majestate sua. Well, this is after the in, so that is a long A, so that is the ablative. In his majesty, in majestate sua. And then again, sedebit super sedem majestatis suae. This is okay, this is also in the ablative. This is in the, whoops, sorry, wait a minute. Genitive is what I meant. This is in upon the seat of his majesty or his power. So this is the genitive form. So there's the ablative and the genitive form. Yeah, well, there isn't, well, yes, if I were going to put macrons here, I would have to put a macron over that. I did not macronize. I can do that, actually. I have believe it or not, I have a routine that will take a Latin phrase and put the macrons on them, but I was too lazy to do that. So there's the ablative and the genitive. So, oops, let's stick with that. So yes, the answer is all of these forms that we've had so far, and we're going to add the dative here pretty soon, which is the fifth important form. All follow, or they all appear for the sua, sua, suum, and for that matter, so do the others. So, any questions there?
Michael, I have a question.
Sure.
It's related to this, but not exactly. This goes back to the discussion last week about the use of suus and eius.
Yep.
And I do recall that suus is used where you're saying your own, his own, what his own.
Right, his own, yes, or her own.
Yeah, whereas eius does not necessarily mean that. But what I'm trying to get clear, because I have seen eius used when it's referring, it clearly refers to something that's owned by someone. Now, is it eius used when it's not necessarily reflective of ownership? And let me give you an example. In O Sacrum Convivium.
Right.
Okay, it says passionis eius. Now, clearly that is Christ, his. That means his passion. But it doesn't mean anyone or anyone else's passion. We were using.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, give me a moment.
There are a lot of examples like this in sacred music and in scripture.
Right.
There's clearly the person who's saying this is referring to his own, whatever the object is. And so I gather that there must be this subtle difference of, if you're trying to emphasize ownership, then you must use suus, but that doesn't necessarily mean that eius is not reflective of that person's ownership.
There we go. You
You
mean
get
as
what
in
I'm
this
saying?
one?
Yeah. If you see it here,
Okay.
recolitur, this is all in the passive voice, of course.
Right.
Uh, recolico, okay, so the memory of his passion.
Yeah,
okay?
but the subject here is O Sacrum Convivium.
Yeah, but it recalls the memory of his passion.
Yes, Christ's passion.
Right. And so,
Okay, but we don't use eius with the last noun necessarily, okay? All right, let's think about this way. Suppose it was O Sacred Banquet, in which Christ is received.
but
The point is you the thing that you're referring to here is the sacred banquet.
but wait a minute. His refers to Christ. It's
No, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, you're right. Exactly. And that's why it has to be eius, because what we're talking about is the sacred banquet.
But why is it not suus, excuse me?
Because we're not talking about Christ. The subject here is O Sacred Banquet.
Well, that may be the subject, but it's his own passion.
Yes.
It's not somebody else's passion. The examples that we were using last week is when you have this situation where you say he gave his book to somebody, and you don't know who the
Okay, notice that Julius here is the subject.
Unless it says suus, you don't
Hold
know.
on. Look at the chart. It says Julius is the subject, right? Okay. You see the screen?
Yes.
All right. Let's change this to mean, whoops. His son's book, but not Julius's son's book. Or I should say, let's make his son not Julius's son, but somebody else's son.
Well, that's what we were talking about last week, and where you use eius because you don't really know whose son it is.
That's right.
Right. But here you know. Here you know when you say passionis eius.
That's because you happen to know that Christ underwent his passion. Okay. What I'm trying to emphasize here, Alex, is it's what is the subject? What is under topic here? If you put suis here, you're referring to the banquet. So the passion of the banquet. It was the banquet's passion, not Christ's passion.
I don't get that. I mean,
what's the topic? What's this about? What is that sentence about? It is about the banquet, right?
But we're not talking about his banquet. We're talking about his passion.
Yes, and that's why this is tied to that. That is not tied to this.
Okay, so let's see. Let's elucidate a rule here.
Okay.
The rule here is that when the subject is other than the genitive That's the possessive use here. If the subject is other than that, then you must use eus. If the subject is one and the same as the genitive you're talking about, then you use suus when you're talking about your own.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
that wasn't all that clear last week.
Oh, well.
I'm not saying you weren't all that clear.
No,
I've
no,
looked-
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, see,
looked
so
at it. I've looked at it in the companion, and it's certainly not clear. And when we talked about it last week, we were talking about all sorts of different situations where when you had eus, you had no idea who the person was.
that's right.
But here,
Okay.
you know absolutely who's.
Well, okay, maybe, I see that's where I may have led you astray. It's not that you don't necessarily know who eus is tied to. I mean, even here, let me bring this up for a moment. Whoops, excuse me. Let me bring up, excuse me. All right, let me switch sharing here. Okay, let's bring this one up. Okay. Okay. Let's get to the right place. All right. So this example, you can see when I say he gave him his book. In English, the way we would know what those pronouns were referring to, I mean, the person who did the giving and the person who got the book and the person who owned the book, we would have to pick that up from context. Okay. Now, it's true when I said in English, we really don't know who the book belonged to, because if we just state it as an isolated statement, then we don't know if it belonged to the subject, to the person it was given to, and he was returning it, or it was somebody else's book entirely.
And in that situation, you use eus.
Assuming it was, yeah, well, for that one we would. Okay. And to that one we would. But in this case, we would have used suis if it belonged to the subject. And I think, yeah, used if the possessor is the owner of the item in question. Okay.
Yes, and Christ is.
Oh, I see what
is
you're.
the owner of his
Yeah, I
passion.
see where I led you astray.
No, there's no one else. There's no one else in question here who's the owner of his passion.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I would point out.
So what you're really saying is it's a two-part question. It's whether the possessor is the owner and the possessor is the subject of the sentence. Isn't that what you're saying?
Or the main clause. Let me look at something here before
I don't know if anybody else is as confused about this as I am.
Let's see here. Yeah, let's look, tell you what, let's look at this one. Well, hold on just a second, actually. Hold on, let me look at something here. Yeah, okay. I don't know if this will help or not. Hopefully it will. We'll give it a try. All right, we're back to the ones that I took out of the Vulgate. Who, quis est fidelus servus, et prudens quem constituit dominus suus. So we're talking about the faithful servant here. See, I don't want to say it's only the subject, Alex, because that paints you into a bit of a corner. So who do you think is a faithful and wise servant? So we're talking about the faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord, hence the suis, okay, because it is the faithful and wise servant's Lord, hath appointed over his family, i.e., it's the Lord's servant and the Lord's family.
Overtakes the accusative.
Super takes the accusative there. Yes. Actually, we're getting a little ahead of folks.
Okay.
Later on tonight, I'm going to talk about.
All right. Well, maybe what will happen is we'll see more of this use of eus.
Yeah.
And then it'll become clear.
Yeah. Excuse me.
I don't want to take up any more time.
Okay. But again, for the other example I gave you, when the Son of Man shall come in his majesty, so we're talking about the Son of Man, okay, and the angels with him, then he will sit upon the throne of his majesty. So we're talking about the Son of Man here, and his majesty.
You got no argument with me there.
So, there, yeah.
My argument is,
well, there
in
see,
certain circumstances, like in Osaka, but they don't use suus.
Yeah, well, it's because of it's what is the subject you are talking about, okay? You're not talking about his passion. You're talking about the sacred banquet and the relationship to it and Christ, okay? So that's why eus is used there. So anyway, let's move on. You're right. Hopefully this will become clear, slightly clearer over time. If not, we can touch on it again. Let's see. But anyway, yeah, kind of what I wanted to do this session anyway was go over questions that are relative to chapter 4. So it's entirely appropriate. Prepositions. I did want to mention them because we had exactly one preposition so far. Is he. See, did I throw in?
Oh, by the way, on that last chart,
Nope.
there was a little typo.
Which this one? No, this one.
The one before. One before that. I guess it's even before that. Yeah, when you have the genitive on I think that should be AE for the feminine, for the first declension. For the first declension, that should be AE.
Oh,
not EA.
Yeah, I got them right on all the other ones.
Yeah, okay, well, close enough. Counts in horseshoes.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to see if you were paying attention.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's interesting because I actually copied those over. How did I don't know how I managed to do that.
You just had a gremlin in there.
No, it takes talent. I mean, no Microsoft products were used in the production of these charts, so can't blame it on them. Thank you. Anyway, okay, prepositions. We've had exactly one so far. Yeah, Tativalus, you got to watch out for him. We've had exactly one preposition so far, namely in. And we really aren't going to start prepositions until the next chapter, but they're sneaking some prepositions in on you. So I'm going to start talking about them now. Now I'm going to keep them very simple because we're going to expand greatly on them later on. What is a preposition? Well, it's a word that is associated with a noun, usually in front of the noun, Did I misspell prepo? Yeah, now occasionally I put in was proposition in a few places.
That makes the class a lot more interesting.
Isn't it spelled prepositions? Where did I? Oh, good grief.
Positions.
Little I.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you. Um, anyway, it's a word usually it's usually associated with a noun, and in Latin it's always in front of. That sets up a relationship. It can be spatial, temporal, or some other such relationship. So, what do I mean by that? Well, in Europe, on the boat, before the class, after the class, under the ground, above the ground, with gusto, etc. And actually, it can be a verb or even an adjective, is what it refers to. Before Sesame Street became excessively politically correct, they had a rather great little episode with Grover and prepositions. So I refer to you if you're not familiar with the grammar. It's probably 30 years old, I think, is when they made that one. So any questions on what a preposition is? Let me go stop there first. Okay. In Latin, prepositions take either the accusative or the ablative. Okay, there's a footnote that sometimes they take both, but let's ignore those cases for the moment. Okay. We saw this with in. And by the way, in happens to be one that can take either the ablative or the accusative. But as I said, I'm going to put that one off.
But it depends on what you mean by in.
Yes, it does.
If you're really
in plus the we'll get it later, Alex. So in plus the ablativus really means in or on. In Europa, in Europe. In insula, well, you wouldn't say in an island, you'd say on an island. Okay. And in fact, we have a prayer that may be familiar.
Our Father.
And has the line, sicut in cielo et in terra. Sound familiar?
The Our Father?
Right. And in fact, we're going to see the Our Father at the end of the charts there. So what do we actually, what is interesting is we translate that, let's see, as it is in heaven and on earth. Actually, we translate it the other way. It is as it is on earth. Let's see, on earth as it is in heaven is how we actually translate it. We reverse the words in English. But the point is we say in heaven and on earth.
So yeah, that actually is incorrect.
What is?
That translation, the way it's written.
You mean sicut in cielo et in terra?
No, never mind. I see it. It's just the reverse. If it had said sicut in terra, then it would be mistranslated.
Yes. No, it's reversed. The English is reversed from what the Latin has.
But the translation's right. Yeah.
And I reversed it back because But anyway, the point is you see in heaven and you say on earth. So in can either be in or on when you're using it with the ablative. Okay. So there are two more prepositions hidden in this chapter, ad and op. Now they snuck them in as verbs, really, because they added them with est. So there was ad est, meaning is there, present. So ad plus est. Ad means towards or at. So the way they got is there or present is by compounding ad and est. So ad is towards or at. Est is. Op est is absent. And in fact, notice absent looks real close to ob est. Excuse me. So they take op, which is from or away from, and add est to get not present or is absent. So odd and op are prepositions in their own right. Odd refers to motion or placement towards or near the subject. So ad est means you are placed near the subject in question. Op is motion away or placement away from the subject. So, so what Latin has done, and it's actually, it's on the next slide. Whoops, no, it isn't. I'm getting ahead of myself. Latin likes to take these prepositions and glue them onto verbs. And I'll show you in a minute, like they did here. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to get to the prepositions first. Ad plus the accusativus, it indicates motion toward or final destination and always takes the accusative. Two examples. Ad maiorem Dei gloriam, to or towards the greater glory of God. Ad, that is in the accusative. It's third conjugation, which you haven't, third declension, which you haven't had yet. And then, of course, qui sades ad dexterem patris, he who sits at the right hand of the Father, have mercy on us, from the Gloria. Okay, so it takes the accusative. And then op takes the ablativus, indicates motion away, and it always takes the ablative. Libera nos ab igni inferni, deliver us or free us from the fires of hell. Okay. Or if you prefer from the Our Father, sed libera nos a malo. Now the a, you can drop the b before a consonant, which you'll find out in the future. So literally, I mean, it really is sed libera nos op malo. So malo, malum, evil, ablative is malo. And so that's how op works. Now, for the moment, you just need to be aware of just be aware of this sort of grammar and syntax. Okay, we haven't been formally introduced to them yet, except for the preposition in, and you're on the hook for in. You need to know you use the ablative for all the cases that we've talked about that so far. But I think ad est and op est are kind of nice words to get used to the idea. As I said, Latin likes to add prepositions to verbs. We had venit, or sorry, excuse me, venit. He, she, it comes. You know, Davos venit. Well, ad venit, from which we get advent, means he or she, it arrives or reaches. So if we were just saying, let's say off in the distance, excuse me. Off in the distance, we saw Davos, and he's headed our way. We would say Davos venit. You know, he is coming. But if we wanted to say he is arriving, meaning he's, you know, say close in, then you would say advenit, meaning he is arriving, he's reaching. Okay, makes sense.
Michael, would you use advenit for a future, like saying he is arriving this evening?
Yes, you would use it future tense as well.
Also, Michael, on adest, the words adeste fidelis are translated as come all you faithful. Is the adeste in adeste fidelis related to this adest here?
Yep, they are the same word, except they are, this is, okay. Adest is third person singular, and adeste is second person.
It looks like an imperative.
Yes, it's an imperative. Yep. In fact, let's see here. Let's do something here. Just
So it has that come to aspect.
Yes, and I'm gonna bring something up. Let's see if I have, oh, no, come on now, cut that out. Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, let me add a new share. There we go. Okay, if we consult our friendly neighborhood dictionary, the root word is ad sum, which really means I am present. If you look up in the dictionary, they always have the first person singular words as the entry. We'll talk about dictionaries and when we get there. But if you look at the conjugation and you go all the way down, whoops, there we go. Whoop. Yeah, imperative. Ades, singular, and adeste is the plural, if you can see that.
Mhm.
So it is the same word.
It is imperative.
Yeah, it is the imperative form.
See, we all are now that much more intelligent about adeste fidelis.
Oh, definitely. So, yeah, and adeste in that sense would be roughly the equivalent of come here,
Mhm.
come towards. All right, any questions on prepositions other than, and keep in mind that really you only need to know in, but I figured I'd start you thinking about them. Okay, now the hard part. Your questions. Cuestiones tue de capítulo cuarto. Your questions on chapter 4. By the way, I'm all caught up on homework and videos.
Oh.
I'm kind of proud of myself.
I think for me, it's just getting more exposure, trying to make more time in my day to touch on the Latin every day. I mean, that's my challenge.
Same here.
Oh, I totally understand that. You know, I mean, I could show you a new word, like baculum, and makes perfect sense. Yeah, it'd be a stick, yeah, to beat people with, and then and it may stick for exactly 3 hours, maybe an hour, and yeah, and okay, here we go. My advice, here we go. There we go. Well, can't type today. Wow.
Repetition
There's my advice.
Studiorum, yes.
Repetitio est mater studiorum. Now, would anybody who was not a member of the previous Latin class last year care to try a shot at translating it? Oops, I left out oh dear.
left out a T.
I left out a very important
Yeah,
T.
that's a very important T.
Oh boy. Yes, repetition is the mother of studies. In English, we might say practice makes perfect. So yeah, I totally understand.
But the other part is writing. Writing.
Yes, this is true. It's not a bad idea. This was a little easier in the last class because I tended to drop tables on you, as in last year's class, not last week's class. But I recommend sitting down and copy. Yes, the hand bone is connected to the head bone. I like that, Teresa. I really like that.
Indeed.
Yeah, if it will help if you sit down and write out what is in, the stories that you're seeing. That tends to strongly reinforce the words and stuff, because you actually have to think about them. You have to say, okay, now where does the macron go here? Or you can drop off the macrons if you want. You know, they're there just for pronunciation. Maybe and if you find them, of course, if you're writing them out, they're not as onerous as typing them on the keyboard. But yes, write out as much as you can. Yeah, and again, Teresa's right. Typing is not the same thing. In fact, I've often, you know, when I type these charts up, I sometimes forget what I typed. I mean, I remember the subject matter, but I don't remember exactly what I typed. So, but writing it out, I rarely forget. And quite frankly, that's what I have done. In fact, what I ought to do is I probably have some of my old sheets where I wrote all this stuff out many, many years ago. So yes, it's old school studying, but the reason it worked, well, of course, back then that we didn't have much other choice.
Yeah, except that I'm 68 and teachers have been telling me this since I was 4 years old, and it doesn't work. Not if you have dyslexia. Because
Well, there are always
and
exceptions.
understanding are different, and memorization.
Yeah, there's always exceptions to the rule. So.
Michael, I do have a question.
Sure.
It's sort of a suggestion in a question. And this is coming from someone who is in the last class that, you know, looking at your chart on pronomina possessivi, it occurs to me, and maybe I'm doing this backwards from the way you're presenting it, but it occurs to me that if you look at the endings on the first declension, the second declension masculine, and the second declension neuter, which is your meus, mea, meum.
Yep.
If you just look at the endings on those and you write it again and again and again and again, it's not that much. And then all of a sudden, these pronouns don't look so difficult to remember. And the nominative, the genitive, the accusative, and the ablative for all three of those declensions. That's just a suggestion.
And actually, I had a chart, excuse me, earlier, where I basically just put in the endings.
Yeah, it looks like it's a lot to learn when you're talking about meus, mea, meum, but maybe once you know the endings of the masculine, the feminine, and the neuter in those three declensions, the second declension, masculine,
Declensions, but yeah, I know what you meant.
then it as you said at the bottom there, that the endings follow the same rules for the first and second. I look at it differently. If once you know the first and two second declension nouns, then it makes all of this so much easier.
Yep. Yeah, I had the endings. Let's see, where'd I put it?
But the only way to get that is by writing again and again and again, and then you memorize it.
I would agree. Oh, let's see here. I think.
My only problem, Alex, is that I get confused with what the ablative is and what the accusative and the genitive and the vocative, and which each one and how it's used, or its definition.
Well,
That's what
this particular section where he's talking about all these pronouns, these prepositions, this is where you really do get to see the ablative in action.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, just so you understand, is at times I'm forgetting what is the ablative case.
And if you translate it as he's saying with.
Yeah, but see, if I knew what the ablative was, then I'd be able to translate it as it.
Yeah, let me see if I can find.
You're going forwards, I'm going backwards, or
But
vice
think of
versa.
ablative as a state of being and accusative as a state of action. In general, that's the way to look at it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at this one.
I know, Michael, you had a chart where you did a real good thing of just giving a little short blurb of each.
There we
one of
go.
the
Yeah.
five.
You're talking about this one.
No, and then below that one, you had another one just to the, where it says same endings, just to the left of that, you had the ablative, the.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I did put okay, wrong
and
chart.
that, I can't find that, and it's driving me
No,
nuts.
no. Okay.
That's very
hold on.
helpful for me. Like I
Let me
said,
see where I put. Let me see where I put it.
I don't know
There
if I
we
can
go.
sound that.
Oh well, all right. That's not the
No,
same
no,
one.
no, that's not it either. But
Ah.
you're pretty close.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Next time I will. Okay. Well, I did it for this, and I did it for.
Maybe it's in the class before this one.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, maybe it was 8. Whoops. Sorry. You're probably looking at a blank screen. Hold on. Let's see if we can find it. Okay. Thought it was 8.
God, I knew it. As soon as I'd see it, I'd know it.
Yoo-hoo.
Do
Where'd you
you
go?
have a chart, Michael, where you just had the noun rather than the pronoun?
Ah, here it is. I found it.
No, that's not it either.
I found it. There we go. So there's the name, the casus, and I'm giving you a little example here, like X is or is X. So the nominative is the subject form, and these are the endings. So, you know,
Then go to the explanation of what the nominative, the vocative, you had like just a little 1 or 2 word sentence.
oh, okay. All
That's-
right. Oh
that's what-
boy, now you're making me really hunt. Let's see here.
Just that I've got the memory of a pissant. That's all I can tell you. I'm sorry, everything.
Okay, well, all right, it's in there. I will I'm gonna start putting these back in. Sorry, I'm gonna start doing more tables here in the near future because we're starting to fill in, you know, these forms. I didn't want to drop too many tables on you initially because they were introducing them slowly in the, you know, in the
In the reading.
you know, in the reading. But now we have everything, and really we also have the vocative. Okay, so I could have added it. So yeah, I can I'll do that in the next either well, I'll certainly do that when we hit chapter 5. I may not do it before then. We'll see.
I think it would help if you took a noun and then in each of the cases, nominative, genitive,
Yeah.
accusative, ablative, and next to it have a parenthetical, like the word life, nominative life.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
genitive,
which I did that in the last class a couple times. Okay, I'll dig that up.
I think that's helpful for people trying to get all these cases.
Okay. Yeah, I'll dig that up for next time, or hopefully for next time. We'll see. We're going to talk about next time in a minute, so I'll reserve any discussions for then when we hit that topic. But any other questions? Oop, that's too far. Where'd everybody go? There we go. All right. Any other questions?
I think Laura had a question earlier about Maydews.
Oh, did you? You probably. Oh, yes. I'm sure Matus hot-footed out of there because he was afraid of being beaten. You know, let's face it. Now, you know, we talk about slavery, you got to be a little bit careful because, well, first off, every culture had slavery, no exceptions. They talk about white settlers introducing slavery into the Americas, but that's simply not true. The first slaves that the white settlers had were Indians. They bought them from the Indians. But let's face it, if you're an Indian and you escape into the forest and join another Indian tribe, they don't know. So that's one of the reasons they started importing blacks, is it was pretty clear that, hey, they stood out. But anyway, but in any case, even in Rome, where slaves had certain rights, the theft of a master's property was a beating was certainly well within the law. So yeah, if he swiped Julius's money, then he would get a beating, and it would not be a pleasant one by any imagination. So actually, it was up to whatever the master wanted to do, but certainly a beating would be within
His prerogative.
Yeah, his prerogative, and within the realm of, if you sampled a 1,000 paterfamilias who had a slave steal money, how many of them beat the slave? It'd probably be, 90%.
Maybe worse than what Marcus got.
Oh, yeah.
Marcus? Oh, yes.
Marcus got it pretty good.
Well, he got a pretty good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I get the impression Marcus is get used to getting verbal routing quite a bit.
Yes. Well, maybe that's the problem, is Matus saw what Julius did to Marcus. He said, well, I'm not hanging around. So I haven't read far enough into the chat. I need to read the chapter. I think it's 6 where we find out what happens.
Yeah.
I need to do that just so I know what the future brings.
Nobody should sell. Nobody should
No,
tell.
don't tell. Yeah, no. It's like like giving away who did it at the end of a murder mystery.
It's like Mousetrap. If you've seen the play Mousetrap.
I haven't seen the play.
No,
I
it's
did see-
the longest running play
or maybe I have.
in London, and they always
Yeah,
tell,
I don't think it's going anymore, but I
Well,
read the
but it was the
play.
longest.
That's
And they
Agatha
always tell
Christie,
you-
isn't it?
Years and years and years. It was in the West End.
Oh, yeah, I know the one now.
And they always tell you, don't tell anybody what the ending is.
So. Okay, any more questions on the material? All right. If not, next week, Feria Quinta, Festus Ascensionis Est, or next Thursday is the Feast of the Ascension. Now, of course, in the Novus Ordo, it has been, I should say in the United States, it's not the Novus Ordo itself. In fact, in Rome, the Feast of the Ascension has not been transferred to Sunday. In fact, I don't think it's even in Italy, I don't think it's been transferred. It's up to the individual regional groups to decide whether to transfer it or not. So, oh, that's right. Boston didn't have it transferred either. Yeah, that's right. It's even depends on the diocese you're in. Yeah. Thank you. I'd forgotten about that. So anyway, I have not seen the notice from
Are they having a Latin Mass next Thursday?
I would imagine so, but I have not seen one on the calendar yet. Tell you what, let me haul up a fast browser to poke at the Annunciation website. And I'm sure we're having one, unless, of course, of course, it's possible that Father Felix is off someplace. Yeah, that's why I'm asking about this. There's also a speaker in June. And I don't want to miss too many. Let's see, I don't see Ascension on here yet.
I'm looking too.
Yeah, I do not see.
Well, no, there is.
Oh, there it is. Yep, there it
It
is.
is.
Join us for
Yep.
the extraordinary forum of Ascension Thursday,
7
May
o'clock.
18th. Yeah, 7 o'clock. I will take a vote. I'm probably not going to be able to make that mass, but I can certainly hold class. But how many? Whoops! How many will be in mass? Well, how many will not be here this way?
Well,
This way you could-
So I think there's something else going on as well, Michael, if I have my calendar dates correct. Gabe Cortez mentioned to me last Sunday that he and his wife, Sarah, and their literary arts group are having some kind of special concert at the University of St. Thomas in honor of John Paul II's 100-something birthday. So I don't know if people are planning on attending that as well, but that's another thing I think some people might consider.
Yeah, that's why I said how many will not be here. I didn't specify.
So the Feast of the Ascension, I guess we can make it up on Sunday.
Yes,
Going
whether
for
you
today?
attend the 11 or the 9 a.m. And
Okay.
I suspect, although I don't know for a fact, that Father may use the liturgy from the Father, there is a you can move the celebration of certain celebrations around. So he very well may move the Ascension liturgy to that Sunday. I don't know what he's planning on doing offhand, but in any case, it fulfills your duty.
Okay, in that case, I'll be trying to come here. I have a trip that weekend, but I'll try to pack earlier in the day and have that taken care of.
Yeah, because the one I think may cause the conflict is the talk in June. We may have a lot of people wanting to go to that. So as long as most of us will be here on the 18th, then we'll have class. So is there anybody not going to
I
be?
think I may have a guest for that talk, so I'm probably going to be trying to make that.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't be here.
I know you won't be here.
I won't be here either, Michael. I've got a family emergency that's whatever. I got to go back east.
Oh, on the 18th?
Yeah, I'll be traveling.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hold class on the 18th, and if anything changes, we'll see.
Oh, you know what too? And I've rather tenacious. I did find the that thing that I was looking for. It was on your number 9, your March 9th class, chapter 2, that I was asking questions about. Pronomia interrogativa, where it talks about the interrogative. Oh no, that wasn't it. I'm sorry. Never mind. God, I'm losing my brain.
Okay. Okay, so let's see if I can answer these questions in any sort of order. Okay.
But I think
Okay.
she was having a problem with EUs, and I think it was in question.
No, we're going to start with the Feria question.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, let's see. I think that was the first. Yeah, from Teresa. Feria. Feria just means, well,
That kind of where we get the word feral from, just like.
oh no. No. Feria is
Wild Ascension Festival.
well, Festus is feast. Okay. So,
Not to be confused with festinate, which means to hurry.
yeah. Well, in fact, Uncle Festus, from the Addams family,
I knew that was coming.
I think they got that from like fester. That's no, different word entirely.
Oh, well,
Festus
festival is,
means of or belonging to the holiday. So festival, feast, that sort of word.
so Festus on Dunsmoke was a holiday?
Well, was Doc Holliday there?
Yeah, he was pretty well sauced.
No, well, there, see, there we go. But feria,
Feria, plural, second declension, neuter.
no, feminine.
Oh, okay. So it's not nominative, plural.
I think you'd be confused because it
It's-
was,
It's singular.
If you look up in your Roman breviary, I'm sure you all have one, right?
Yes.
The weekdays are late. Okay. Recall, all right, if you do the days of the week in English, you'll do like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And they're actually the name, and if you use the Romance languages, it's Sunday, Moon Day for the moon. Let's see, Lundi, Tuesday is Mars Day. Wednesday is Mercury's day. Thursday is Jupiter's day. Let's see, Lundi, Mardi, Mercury. Friday is Venus Day, and Saturday is Saturn Day. Okay. And those were names that eventually worked into vernaculars from various, for various reasons. Since they're the names of pagan god, well, they're the names of the planets, but the names of the planets are associated with the various Greco-Roman gods. The church never really adopted those names. So if you look in the Latin, you will see that Sunday is Dominica from Dominus, okay? Dominica meaning the Lord's Day. Then Monday is Feria Feria Secunda, Feria Tertia, Feria Quarta, Feria Quinta, Feria Sexta is Friday. And then Saturday is Sabbato, Sabbath, because that was Saturday was the Jewish Sabbath, and then Sunday is Dominica again. So Feria Quinta is simply Thursday. Now, ferias also had a day of rest or holiday. It was related to the word festus, but I'm using it here in the sense of just the day of the week. So.
like, I think what had me confused was that you used the word feria and then you had a solemnity attached to it. And I didn't think that feria days had it with solemnity.
There we go. There. How's that? Better?
Okay, whatever. At least you didn't confuse me. I understand that, the feria is one of the weekdays normally without a thing on it. Solemnity or something like that.
Okay, let's see. And a ferial day is, okay, an ordinary day, not a memorial feast or so. Oh, Laura answered that. Gee. Okay. I should have read the notes or the dialogue here. Okay, so tangential question. Okay, why did I put cave idus meis? All right. Beware the Ides of May. That's because I was to be honest with you, I missed the Ides of March.
No.
But let me, I'm going to show you guys something since we have
You and
time.
Caesar.
Whoop. Let's see if I can. Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can share this. This may be a little hard to see. Ah, there we go. Can you see that?
No.
Yes, I can.
Okay. I apologize, it's small print. But this is how the Romans and actually the church told time for quite a few centuries. Okay. Our modern calendar, where we count the days 1 through 30, for example, is not how, well, first off, weeks. Okay. The ancient Romans did not have weeks. Okay. We inherited that, of course, from Judaism. You know. And so the Romans had kind of a 9-day market cycle, which didn't tap into anything remotely like ours. So the calends is the first day of the month. And then the next important date were the nones, okay, which was typically on the 7th. And then you had the Ides, which was in the middle of the month, which for May is the 15th, for March is the 15th, for April it was the 13th. Depends on the length of the month. So I will get to this Latin calendar in the future. I will even show you a snapshot out of my breviary. And even the Liturgia Horarum, which is post Second Vatican Council, uses this form for the calendar. Now they have the day numbers beside it, like we use today. But the nice thing, I like this thing because today is the ante diem quintum idus maius, maias, get all the vowels in there, which is the 5th day before the Ides of May. So we go 1, so there's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there's the Ides, and you have to keep in mind that they counted inclusively. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we sort of do that with our own calendar. We don't start off with 0. You know, there's no 0th May. We start off with the 1st of May.
That's how you get 3 days in the tomb also.
Yeah.
I had to book that a lot with my class. Like it was only like 2.5 days or something, or 2 days, but
Yes.
for them part of a day included a whole day. And they,
Yeah, well, and that's I mean, we even it depends what you mean by a day. If you mean a 24-hour period, which we sometimes mean when we say a day, then that's fairly well defined. But if I said Thursday, I had a very small dinner, so the next day I had a big breakfast. Well, I'm not talking about a 24-hour period. So it can be it can be slippery in English as well. But certainly in the case of Jesus being in the tomb for 3 days, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But it was not 3 24-hour periods. So, but yeah, we'll talk about the Roman calendar here eventually, only because if you ever deal in any old missals or and I mean really old missals, you will see this form. You won't see the usual 30-day type thing that we have. So, but anyway, yes, I was just throwing it out there. All right, so we will have class on the 18th. All right, and let's finish up part 3. This is actually the whoops, I think I lost my let me see here. I think I lost my Yeah, where is it here? Okay, where is it? Okay, I lost my, there it is. Where'd it go? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. There. All right, let me get back to the lingua latina. That junk. Chapter 4. See, we've already done this. So what is left is, whoops, not that. Hold on, let me go back here. I missed. Oh, here we are. There we go. Section 3, which is actually the Grammatica Latina. We'll go through that for next time and finish up the exercises. Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. So 10, 11, and A, B, and C. 10, they just want the vocative endings. Here, I'll give you a sneak peek. There. Whoops, wait. Wait, I'm on the wrong one. There we go. Here it is. So what they're asking for here is dave non nominativus sed. Any takers?
Vocativus.
Yeah, vocativus est. Domine, quoque vocativus est. And then they're going to ask for endings. So dave, domine, mede, serve, marche. I mean, it's pretty easy. So 10 shouldn't be any big deal. Oh, I see somebody did some homework since I last checked. This one is the imperativus and indicativus. So salutat indicativus est, saluta est imperativus. And then they're eventually going to get to endings. See, for the various verbs, either imperative or indicative. That one shouldn't be too bad. This one is fill in the blank. Most of them are endings to the word. So medus ad est. Okay, so you're finishing off. What I mean is you're finishing off the word there. Davus op est. So medus is there. Davus is not. Julius imperat. Julius calls. Voca.
Okay.
Yeah. Davum. Yeah. Call Davus. Medus. And so you're going to finish the endings. That one will be a little more fun than the others. And then, of course, the pensum B is the usual fill in the blanks. These are all single words from the exercises. And then the last one is our usual answer the questions. So there we go. So that's what those are. Do go back and reread the Latine Disco, and we will go through we'll have sort of a wrap up of chapter 4, and then we'll the following week, which is what, the 25th? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, the 25th is yeah, we'll hit chapter 5 at that point. So, and then is it June? When in June is the talk? Is it the 1st or the 8th?
I think it's the 8th
I think it's the 8th.
or the 18th. There was an 8 in there somewhere.
Oh, wait, the 8th is Corpus Christi. We run into another feast day. Maybe it is the 15th. I don't know. Well, we'll worry about it then. So, any other questions? No? All right, then we will mute everybody. And this is where we do the Pater Noster. Okay. I stayed on the Ave Maria because of the first declension and second declension nouns and the simple stuff. The Pater Noster is actually a bit more complicated. This is something called a passive voice verb. That's third. Let's see, third. Anyway, but we'll pick up those grammatical items later but it shouldn't be too much of a stretch to be able to recite it, though, I would hope. All right, let me mute everybody. All right. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Adveniat regnum tuum. Fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie. Et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris. Et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. Amen. And that's the end of the class, and I will stay for a